So this video is going to be, I guess, a comment to another video that I watched on YouTube, or actually a comment that I saw on YouTube. But first, before I get to that, I want to talk about a channel on YouTube. You see it right there. The name of the channel is Paul Ross. Now, I have did videos before mentioning this same individual, Paul Ross. Let me talk a little bit about who he is. Okay, he is an individual. He is a Christian. He is also a missionary, or a former missionary, I forget. But he has also wrote a book on atheism, basically denouncing atheism. Also, this is one of the individuals that Darth Dawkins, in one of his conversations, he actually mentioned that this would be an individual who could play the role of a neutral moderator. Okay? Now, let me say that again so that your ears aren't fooling you. Darth said that this individual, who is a Christian missionary and wrote a book denouncing atheism, would be a good individual to play the role of a neutral moderator. Okay? Now, whether or not you think that's the case, I'll let you decide that. If you want to hang your star to that hitch, go ahead. Now, I want to also talk a little bit about Paul Ross, because I've had some text exchanges or email exchanges with Paul Ross. And as far as I am concerned, Paul Ross has been impeccable as far as the way that he's dealt with me. He has been nothing but cordial and nothing but polite. 100% all the way. So this is not an attack on Paul Ross. I am not trying to start a war with Paul Ross. Paul Ross has a YouTube channel where he is basically, he's created several videos that feature Darth Dawkins. I counted, I think, maybe 5 or 6 recently, but I think there's more. I see that the name of Darth appears in at least 5 or 6 of the titles, but I think there are videos that he has where, even though it's not mentioned in the title, Darth Dawkins is still speaking. So now I'm paraphrasing this, but I remember Darth Dawkins and Paul Ross had a conversation with each other, and in that conversation, Paul Ross mentioned that he thought that Darth Dawkins' position was pretty much ironclad or non-refutable. Now I'm paraphrasing that, but that was the idea. So now I'm going to put the link to a video which is on Paul Ross's channel, and I made a comment under that video. And when I did, Paul Ross messaged me back, and he said, well, he'd like to get a hold, he'd like to maybe have a phone call with me, or some kind of a call with each other where we can talk about my view. One thing that I'd like to say about that, at first I thought, well, yeah, I'll do that. I'll go ahead and I'll schedule a chat with him. But after thinking about it, I said, no, wait a minute now. I thought, this is something that everybody, or at least, my subscribers, I want them to see this. I want them to know about this. So I changed my mind and I decided to do this video. And after I finish this video, I'm going to contact Paul Ross, and I'm going to give him the link to this video. And whether Paul Ross wants to reply or not, that's completely up to him. If he wants to reply to me in an email or under the video, in the comment section of this video, that's fine. If he doesn't want to reply at all, that's fine. So Paul Ross has no obligation to put a response to this video. Now, again, this is not this is not an attack on Paul Ross, and I also want to say it's also not going to be intended to be an attack on Darth Dawkins. I want to keep this video strictly talking about Darth's worldview. Now, let me point out something. I am not necessarily referring to what Darth calls the Christian worldview. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Darth's worldview. Okay? Now, I did several videos where I have actually smeared Darth Dawkins. I'm going to admit that right now. I did several videos where it was 100% my intent and my motive to smear Darth Dawkins because I believe he deserves it. But in this video, that's not my intent. I'm just going to show some of the things that Darth has said. And in the video that I saw, or the one that I noticed, which was on Paul Ross's channel, that video was entitled something about, I think, Atheistic Double Standard. Now, he made a comment, and I'm going to show you that comment. Okay, if you read the comment section of that video, well, I shouldn't say the comment section, I should say the wording that Paul Ross posted under that video, the actual under the title. This is the statement that he wrote. Quote, Darth Dawkins has pointed this atheistic double standard out on multiple occasions. But it's very important to be reminded of this in the light of the fact that the atheist has never provided a good answer in response to it. Unquote. Now, what I'd like to do here is point out, I guess maybe you could call it a response, even though I'm not necessarily speaking from the atheist point of view. Let me talk a little bit about that. Anyone who has listened to my videos or went to my website, they can see that it is not my intent or my objective to give my worldview or to come from the direction of my worldview. That is not my intent or my objective. Now, I may do it implicitly. I won't deny that, but it is not my explicit objective to do that. All right. My objective is to show Darth's worldview, not mine. And furthermore, I will even say that it is not necessary for me to say anything about my own worldview. Now, where do I get that from? I get that from Darth. And I've did videos before on this. And I probably, if I wanted to, I could list at least a dozen different links where Darth basically says, when he is speaking or chatting with someone else, and that person asked him, well, what is your worldview? Or what do you think about this? Darth will say, my worldview at this juncture is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what I think or believe. Okay, so that's where I got that from. So my philosophy is what's fair for the goose is fair for the gander. If he can do that, I can do it. So in this video, it's not going to be about my worldview. I'm going to focus on Darth's worldview. Okay? Now, let's first understand something about Darth. In any of his videos, he is very careful. I'll give him credit. He tries to be very careful, I should say, about everything he says. Although he has did blunders which are epically, biblically, colossally, they are obvious blunders. I mean, they outright contradict things that he has previously said. So, but I want to play a little clip here, and I want this to be something that that people know about Darth himself and what he says about himself. Here's that clip.
I said, I'm very careful, and I chose my words to be succinct, okay? Kai Nielsen.
Okay, so you heard that. He said he's very careful about how he chooses his words. Good. I'll buy it. Now, let's play another clip here, or actually a few clips, because remember, the topic of this video is about the atheist, or the so-called atheist double standard. Let's play a little clip. But let me ask before we get started, does Darth have a double standard? I think that would be a pretty good question, because I mean it is related to the topic about a double standard. What about Darth? Does he have a double standard? I think that if you have listened to him, well, let's start with one clip where it sounded to me, first of all, that Darth didn't like the idea of a double standard. It sounded like Darth was more or less speaking negatively about a double standard. Here's that clip.
Okay, you always go soft. You can laugh all you want, James. You always go soft on these obnoxious atheists. Every single time. Yeah, you are. I don't care. I really don't care. At this point, I'm very frustrated that you have a double standard.
I don't have a double standard.
Yeah, you do.
It's fair for him to just questions, isn't it?
Wow. You know, James, I'm really getting irritated with you.
So you heard Darth say that he was getting frustrated because he thinks that James had a double standard. Okay, so I would think that would mean that Darth thinks negatively about a double standard. Now, let's listen to a few more clips.
An absolute that is personally required rational justification. But when it comes to your adoption,
that I just said.
Okay, so you're violating your own principle. When you believe in an impersonal absolute, you don't require rational justification. So you have a double standard and you're inconsistent. So you violate your own principle upon which the foundation you claim to reason.
Okay, so again, from listening to that clip, I would think that any rational, sane person would arrive at the conclusion that Darth is trying to say that having a double standard is a negative, and that one should not hold to a double standard. Okay, now with that in mind, I now want to play a few clips, and these are clips where Darth is interacting with the moderators of certain chat rooms. These are clips where Darth is not the moderator and he does not have control over the little, knobs, buttons, and gadgets. He doesn't have any control. So he is at the, I guess, he is placing himself in a position where he is giving up that control over that aspect of the room. Okay? Now, listen how he reacts to these moderators and listen to what he says about these moderators. Here are those clips.
I think I can see it. Honestly, Duncan, I can see it coming from both sides. So I think it'd be better just if we try to just change up the way that we're talking to each other.
You're making me an equivalent of what Nate just did, repeatedly over talking.
Literally, what I'm doing, Duncan, is just playing your game. Like
I'm expecting an answer, SJ.
Okay, well,
she doesn't owe you an answer. She's not going to be bullied by you, you idiot.
Okay.
well, let's just stay as we also. I just want to say hi also to Ethan, who's here. He's your friendly neighborhood.
Okay, so you're not okay. So SJ, you're not going to answer me. Okay, fine. Then there's no why I should stay in this shit fest. See you later, SJ. You're a terrible moderator.
No, she's a good person.
SJ, you really messed up.
We love you, SJ.
To prefer people who I can actually converse these things with.
Do you have a question for me?
He's just let him.
James, listen to me. You're being a terrible moderator, and I'm really getting irritated with you.
From everybody, so thanks.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's right.
It starts to
Snake, do you have a question?
He really is childish, and I'm thinking it would be nice to talk with somebody who would behave politely and reasonably.
Yeah, Darth, this is your last chance. Are you willing to stop interrupting?
Yeah, if this will be your last chance. If you need.
Sorry, Darth wouldn't behave. So, anyways, I
Okay, so there you saw 3 clips where Darth was interacting with the moderator, and in the last one, the conversation even came to a point where Darth wanted to dictate to the moderator what he should do. Okay? Now, remember, that was while Darth was not in his own room. He was in a different moderator's room. Okay? Remember, we are to be subservient to Darth, even if we are not in his chat room. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the rules that Darth sometimes mentions when he is in his room. Because, definitely, nobody should violate his rules. He's got plenty of rules, and we should obey all of these rules. Let's take a look at one incident where Darth was talking to someone about violating his rules. Here that is.
In a band. Now, did you understand the rules, Chris?
Okay, which rule did I just violate?
Okay, listen, Chris, you just violated the rules by dodging a clear question. I said, did you understand the rules?
No, I was just making.
Okay, Chris, you're violating the rules again. I asked you a clear question. Chris, do not overtalk a moderator. Okay, now,
sorry,
I asked you a question, Chris. While a moderator is talking, do not overtalk a moderator. Okay? Now, I wouldn't be doing this if you weren't breaking.
Okay, now remember, the objective of this video is to talk about Darth's double standard. Now, I'm going to play another clip here that concerns the rules of his server or the rules of his room. And I want you to listen very carefully to this clip.
A PMARS, you're not allowed to imitate other people's usernames. Okay, it's a server rule.
Okay, now in that real short clip, you heard Darth talk to someone by the screen name of PMARS, and Darth was telling that person that he is not allowed to imitate another screen name because it will break the rules of Darth's server. Okay, now, remember, we're talking about a double standard. Now, I want you to listen. I'm going to go back to a clip that I previously played in this video. I'm going to show you that clip again.
I think I can see it. Honestly, Duncan, I can see it coming from both sides. So I think it'd be better just if we try to just change up the way that we're talking to each other.
You're making me an equivalent of what Nate just did, repeatedly over talking.
Literally, what I'm doing, Duncan, is just playing your game. Like
I'm expecting an answer, SJ.
Okay, well,
she doesn't owe you an answer. She's not going to be bullied by you, you idiot.
Okay.
Well, let's just to stay as we also. I just want to say hi also to Ethan, who's here. He's your friendly neighborhood.
Okay, so you're not okay. So SJ, you're not going to answer me. Okay, fine. Then there's no why I should stay in this shit fest. See you later, SJ. You're a terrible moderator.
No, she's a good person.
SJ, you really messed up.
We love you, SJ.
Okay, now where did I get that from? I got that from another YouTube channel, and you can see it right there, SJ Thomason. And I will put the link to her channel in the comment section, or the description area, I should say, of this video. Now, remember, we're talking about a double standard. Now, what is so interesting about that particular channel is that Darth made another appearance a second time after he had said that she was a bad moderator. After he said that, he showed up on that same channel later on another occasion. Okay, now I'm not going to spend very much time on this because I have already did videos addressing this exact same incident. But to make a long story short, if you go to this channel, look out for number 1, the guy that created this channel, his name is Oscar, and he did a video about Darth, which I will also put the link in the description area of this video, where this is where Darth came into a live chat during SJ Thomasons' live chat, and Darth imitated another individual. Now remember, Darth had previously pointed out to the other person that he didn't want him to break the rules of the server by imitating another screen name. Yet Darth himself went into another chat room and imitated another person. And it wasn't just the screen name. He actually showed a video clip of this particular individual, and that particular individual who he was imitating was a person by the name of Partick Rivelli. And now, who is Partick Rivelli? Partick Rivelli was a person that had died approximately 1 year earlier. So what Oscar had found out, Oscar, when he examined that particular video clip that Darth had posted, Oscar found out that Darth deliberately and intentionally manipulated that video clip. And when he was finished editing that video clip, he waited until the right time, and then he went into SJ Thomason's room and he posted that video clip in her room. Okay? So what I'm getting from this is that Darth must seem to not have any problem with imitating a deceased person, but he does have a problem with someone is in his room imitating the screen name of another individual. Interesting. Okay, now remember, this is the person who made a statement. It's coming out of the same mouth as the individual who said this.
But you see, your actions speak louder than your words.
And also, I might mention that Darth never went back to the Rivelli family because Partick Rivelli had a YouTube channel, and as far as I know, he still does. Darth Dawkins never went back to the Rivelli family to apologize or to make a public apology to the Rivelli family. Now, the interesting part about that is that there was, on another occasion, an incident where Darth confronted a girl, or a woman, I should say. She went by the screen name of Zaiz. And in that chat, Darth confronted her and said he basically demanded that she do a public apology because she had insulted or or I should say, she had misrepresented their relationship together. So he demanded that she post a video to do a public apology because of her behavior and because of her actions. Okay? But we don't see any public apology on his channel, which, by the way, he says he doesn't have a channel. But if you go to YouTube, you'll find at least 2 of his YouTube channels. And by the way, and this doesn't have anything to do with this video or the topic of the video, but I might as well add this as long as I'm doing it. If you go to both of his channels, you will see the words. It says, "This channel doesn't have any content loaded or any uploaded videos." So YouTube refers to it as a channel, even if there's no videos posted on it or there are no comments. It's already a channel with or without uploaded videos, according to YouTube. Now, another thing that I would like to bring into this conversation, since we're talking about double standards, is that on at least a couple of occasions, Darth has mentioned what he refers to as a basic social contract. This is a social contract which is unwritten, but people should adhere to it. Now, I'm going to play a couple clips here to let you hear about what Darth says about this basic social contract.
I want to ask you a simple question, G.I. Jew. Okay, do you think that being truthful in human verbal interactions that it's a basic social contract?
No.
I'm waiting for an answer. Now, do you understand are you aware of the fact that there's a basic social contract, unstated, unwritten social contract, that when human beings speak to each other, we will be truthful about what we think and believe?
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, now this video would not be complete if I'd failed to mention about what Darth said about his position as far as being or having a double standard. The fact of the matter is that even though Darth, if you heard, when you listened earlier, you would think that a double standard was a negative. At least that was the impression I had when I listened to Darth. In several clips, that was the impression I got. But now let's take a look at one conversation he had with another individual, and this was when he was in his room. Now let's watch the magic, and let's see what happens in this case. Here's that clip.
Because they are behaving badly.
Okay, well, as far as I could see, when you were having your conversation, she's gone now. When you're having your conversation with that lady there, it seemed to me like you overtalked her constantly, and at no point was there any repercussions for your overtalking. There were many of them.
That's because I'm a mod in here, and that's because this is my room.
Okay, so you don't hold yourself to your standards then?
Okay, no. Okay, I have different standards because I run the room.
Okay, so you have
Now listen. That's right. This is not an egalitarian channel. Were you confused and thought that it is?
Well, I just figured that a Discord server that calls itself Real Politics.
Wait a minute. Okay, you happen to be in the channel of Atheist Helpline. This is my channel. I asked you a question. Were you under the illusion that we're operating in an egalitarian way, kind of the way like a communist utopia? We're not.
Yes, and if you let me explain myself.
No, well, you're wrong. Then you are under a false illusion. This channel is a benevolent dictatorship.
Why would anybody ever want to have a...
Now, I was thinking about what would be a good way to end this video, and I thought about the ultimate double standard as far as what I think could be the ultimate double standard. Okay, now, what is Darth's standard, or at least I should say, what does he claim is his standard? He claims that his standard is either the Bible or God. Okay, the Christian scriptures. That would be his standard. So I think the ultimate double standard would be to either say something or do something which is not in accordance with his own standard, that being the Bible. So let's take, for example, this verse. For all have sinned and all come short of the glory of God. Now that's one verse. Now there's a better one here. This is from the NASB, and Darth has said this is his preferred version. Let's take a look at that. It says, rather, God must prove to be true, though every person be found a liar, as it is written. Now, what about the King James Version? Because I have in my channel videos where Darth also has quoted out of the King James. Let's see what the King James said. God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar. Now, I think most Christians would say, and by the way, this is not an appeal to a consensus, but I think most Christians would agree that this is true. According to the Bible, every man is a liar. No exceptions. Except in the case of Christ, who Christians who are Trinitarians believe that he was a man. Well, let's take a look at a statement that Darth made.
I mean, if I saw a title that are there many theists who do not lie, and as long as the room is not being operated on somebody that I've dealt with before who's an absolute troll, right? I'll go in there and I'll say, yeah, I'm a theist who doesn't lie. What would you like to hit me with?
So you heard him say just there, well, I'm a theist who doesn't lie. What would you like to hit me with? Well, Darth, how about your own worldview? Now, Darth, if you're listening, you can push back on your own worldview if you want to do that. If you want to push back on that verse that said every man is a liar, I'd love to hear you push back on it. Because, you see, here's what I think would happen. If you ask Darth about that, watch all of his absolutes fly right out the window. I mean, for a guy that spends a lot of time talking about absolutes, watch him, okay? Pin him down on this. Confront him and breach this issue with him, and watch as he justifies himself. Watch the absolutes magically disappear. Thank you for watching.
Of what I have to say, and I'm accused by this sniveling little lying little troll that I am dishonest. What have I been dishonest about?
This was a question that he was asking.
If you look at the YouTube
some
comments
of his,
when
I guess, for lack of a better
videos
word,
that are about me,
but
okay, they're
listen to
constantly
this
accusing me of
question that he
lying
asked.
and being dishonest. About what? They never cite how I'm not telling the truth or I'm being dishonest. It's just the accusation that I'm dishonest.